So in my collection, I probably have at least about, I don't know, maybe around 200 fragrances right now. And that's, full bottles of fragrances, either a little bit less or slightly even more. I'm not sure the exact number, but I know it's around that amount. And so not all of these fragrances are going to be, the most well-known fragrances a lot of times. So what I have here today is my top 10 list of sort of, hidden gem fragrances that I have in my collection. So the first fragrance that I'm going to start off with was a part of like the Dumont haul that I received from the perfume box. And this one is Celerio Elysium from Dumont. So this is their take on, I believe it's called Mont Tobacco from Ormond James. And this, scent profile overall, this is not necessarily going to be, like one of the most popular ones. I mean, as a matter of fact, some people may not even like it. I would say, definitely you have to like woodier scents to like this particular, scent profile in general. But at least for me anyway, a lot of what I get from this is, I don't know, I kind of get like a sort of tea-like feel from this fragrance, especially in the opening. It's definitely, at least the way that it comes off both on skin and even, when I smell it on a tester strip, it kind of smells like a sort of spicy tea, you could say, like a really spicy tea. Not like super citrus heavy, but maybe even kind of like a chai sort of tea, something like that. That's a lot of what I get. And then I also, I do kind of get a lot of that woody sort of aspect, in the background as well. Now, the notes in this fragrance, there are definitely a lot of different notes that I don't particularly get when I wear this fragrance. Like I know tobacco leaf is one of them. There is a leather note in the fragrance as well. I don't really pick up on too much of that either. Again, the way that this wears on my skin anyway, it just wears kind of like a really sort of spicy, woody sort of tea fragrance. And like I said, again, it's going to be more along the lines of kind of like a chai tea. That's the way that it comes off, at least on my skin, and that's why I enjoy it so much. Definitely maybe you might have to kind of test this one out and see, how it kind of reacts to your skin. Maybe it might come off, a lot more leathery or, a lot more woody. But at least for me, man, I really do enjoy the smell of this fragrance a lot. So this one is one of my favorite, again, from that haul that I got. So, I would say definitely if you like fragrances that are, close to what I'm describing, what this smells like, then I would definitely say that, this is one to absolutely try out. Now, I wouldn't overpay for this. The Celerio line, I know from Dumont, is like the higher end line. So these are going to be a little bit more expensive than like the Nitro line. But I'll have a link in the description to where you can purchase all of these fragrances. I'm pretty sure that at the most, this one right now is probably between $40 and $50. So, for that price for 100 ml, I think, if you like the scent profile, it is definitely worth it. And it does perform pretty well also. Now, it is a very strong fragrance that you can easily go nose blind to. So definitely be cognizant of that. But it does definitely project pretty heavily. And the longevity is also very good as well. Again, you're just probably going to go nose blind to it pretty quickly. All right. So again, this one is Celerio Elysium from Dumont. All right. So next one on the list, this one is Central Obsession's take of Joe Malone's Wood Sage and Sea Salt. And this one is, again, their interpretation of Wood Sage and Sea Salt. Now, I know Central Obsessions, they've changed a lot of the names of their fragrances, so I'll have a link in the description with the name of the new sort of formulation that you can actually purchase. But this one is very, very good, man. This is definitely, so far anyway, my favorite interpretation of Wood Sage and Sea Salt. Obviously the original one definitely smells good, but the original fragrance, at least for me, like it literally only lasts, I don't know, maybe 30, 45 minutes or something like that. Like the performance on it is really, really bad. And with this one, even though the smell of the fragrance is definitely, it's a little bit sweeter than what you get with the wood sage and the sea salt from, Jo Malone, this one still smells really good. It does definitely have a slightly more kind of synthetic feel to it, but to me, it doesn't make it to where it's not an enjoyable fragrance. It's just a really sort of beast mode version of the wood sage and sea salt, with, I would say, really all of the notes kind of amped up. And it's a 8+ hour fragrance, easily. So that's the biggest thing with this fragrance is, it really does perform pretty good, but it also, out of all of the other Jo Malone Jo Malone, wood sage and sea salt interpretations that I've smelled, whether it be from Alexandria, I think another one that I smelled was from Paris Corner. I may have even smelled one more possibly. This was the one that I definitely enjoyed the most, was the Scentual Obsessions version. It smelled the most like the original Jo Malone. And again, the performance on it was better than, even the original, but definitely better than the other interpretations as well, man. So this is definitely one to pick up for sure. Absolutely. Like I said, again, the performance on it is really, really good, easily over 8+ hours. And the projection is, well over probably twice the projection of what you would get with the original from Jo Malone. Or Jo Malone, I'm sorry. So absolutely, man, check out Scentual Obsessions version of wood sage and sea salt. This is a very underrated banger from Scentual Obsessions. All right, so the next one on the list, this is from Lattafa. And I mean, this one to me, it doesn't get as much love as probably what it should. I don't know if it's because of the price of the fragrance or if it's just the scent profile. Maybe it's not as popular, but I really do enjoy it a lot. This one is Qaa'ed Intense from Lattafa. So this is their take on Givenchy Gentleman Reserve Prive. And this does smell a lot like, something like Dior Homme Intense, but I do think that I enjoy this scent profile a little bit more than I do the Dior Homme Intense. So I really do like the extra sort of woodiness that you get from this scent profile, as well as that sort of, boozy, I believe it's like a whiskey note that you get from this. Whereas, with the Dior Homme Intense, that is definitely, it's a little bit heavier on the iris to me. Definitely has more of that sort of, like makeup, lipstick sort of smell to it. And while, I mean, it doesn't necessarily sound like the most appealing, sort of smell, I do actually enjoy it, but I do enjoy the way that this is done a little bit better than, something like Cayenne Classic. Now, again, while Cayenne Classic is not, it's obviously it's not interpreting the same sort of scent profile. The scent profile that this one is interpreting, it's just a little bit more enjoyable for me. I think it comes off as being a little bit more masculine, a little bit more sexier to me anyway. Like I said, I really enjoy the booziness that you get from that whiskey note in this one. And while the quality on this one isn't, as good as what it is in the Givenchy, this still comes really, really close to it. Now, I know there's other interpretations out there from other houses. I haven't smelled those, but this one so far is, it's very, very good. And I feel like it doesn't really get talked about as much as it probably should, especially around this time of the year. This is perfect for this time of the year, but I would even say that this is still like a good all year round sort of fragrance. To me, it doesn't really come off as being like super heavy to where you couldn't wear it maybe on like summer nights, especially if you're in more of a more like moderate climate. But yeah, man, this is a very, very nice choice to wear, especially at night. Could you wear this during the daytime? Absolutely. You could. I would say, especially in like the winter and like the fall months. But at least for me, I'm more so kind of gravitate towards this one, at night for the most part. So yeah, man, definitely if you're, looking for a really good interpretation of, Givenchy's Gentleman Reserve Privé, and you're just looking for like a really budget fragrance to kind of, fill in for that fragrance, then absolutely this is your best choice. And again, this is Lattafa's Qaa'ed Intense. Next one is from Alexandria Fragrances, and this is their take on Creed's Aventus Cologne, and this is Brasilia Cologne. So this is, again, I would say probably Aventus Cologne is like my favorite sort of, interpretation or my favorite version of the Creed scent profile, followed by probably Absolute Aventus, and then I would put, just the original Aventus last, more than likely. But this is a really good interpretation of Aventus Cologne, man. The strength on this is like really, really beast mode. Every time I wear this, especially, in the hot weather, it definitely, it projects like a beast. And the longevity on it is also very good as well. I feel like this is one of the best, interpretations of Aventus Cologne that I've smelled. I have also smelled the, the Sensual Obsessions version as well. That one, I did really enjoy. I enjoyed that one so much that I finished the bottle of that one, which, I mean, it's very rare that I finish like an entire bottle of something. And I definitely finished that bottle like years ago. So I was wearing the crap out of the Sensual Obsessions version, but to me, the Alexandria version, like I said, it's a little bit stronger. The notes come off, in my opinion, as a little bit more richer, a little bit more kind of sparklier. And it is definitely double the, I would say double the projection, from what you get from the Creed. And the longevity is also, to me, a little bit better. I know a lot of people say that they get pretty good longevity out of Aventus Cologne. At least for me, I think every time when I had a bottle of that fragrance, every time I wore it, I really couldn't smell it after probably 3 to 4 hours or so. And it didn't really seem like I was going nose blind to it, because just asking other people, they couldn't smell it on me either. So I just really don't have good luck with wearing Creed, original Creed fragrances. They just don't really last on my skin like that. And, typically if I wear a clone or inspired fragrance of a Creed fragrance, it normally performs a lot better and I get a more enjoyable experience out of wearing the fragrance. So again, if you're looking for a beast mode interpretation of Aventus Cologne, I absolutely would recommend Alexandria's version. And again, this is Aventus Cologne, or I'm sorry, Brasilia Cologne. All right, next one is from Paris Corner, and this is part of their Prive Zara line. This is Amber Night. And so this is their interpretation of Dior's Ambre Nuit. And this is a very good fragrance, man. I don't know why there aren't, like more videos out there on YouTube about this fragrance. I know, like, on and off, this fragrance, it kind of goes in and out of stock on, I believe it's, might be Fragrance Net, I believe, is where I purchased this from. And where I feel like it's the only place that I've ever really been able to find this fragrance. This is a very nice, fizzy, ambery sort of scent. You do definitely get, a really nice sort of rose note in the background as well. But the main thing that you're getting with this is like a really fizzy, bright, sparkly amber. And I really enjoy this fragrance a lot. It is definitely, to me, more of sort of like a nighttime only type of fragrance. Like, I mean, obviously you can wear fragrances whenever you want, but I wouldn't necessarily reach for this fragrance during the daytime. That's just me anyway. This is definitely, to me, like a really nice, sexy nighttime scent. I think it is best suited kind of like for like maybe going on a date or, you know, some sort of special occasion. But I mean, at least for me, I have no problem wearing this one, you know, just casually at night. It is a very, very nice scent to wear, man. And I do tend to more so kind of reach for this one like when it's cooler out here in Vegas at night, as opposed to, you know, wearing this one in the summertime at night. But I think, you know, either way, you can wear this one at night whenever, you know, all year round. It's just a really, really nice nighttime scent, in my opinion. The performance on it is not going to be like, overall, this fragrance is not going to be as good as what the original is from Dior. But to me, this comes extremely close, especially considering the price that you can get this for. I believe normally this goes for like anywhere between like $20 and $30 or so on, you know, Fragrance Net. So, you know, I mean, you get a $20 to $30 fragrance as compared to the Dior, which I don't know exactly how much Ambre Nuit is, you know, right now anyway, but I'm pretty sure for a 120 ml bottle, that one is at least probably over $300 or so. So, you know, obviously you are going to expect a slight sort of quality difference, but to me, this one, you know, it definitely, it punches way above its price tag. And I really do think that this is worth it, especially if you know, obviously don't plan on, you know, spending $300+ on the original from Dior. So definitely check out Amber Night from Paris Corner, a part of their Prive Zara line. This is a very nice interpretation. All right, so the next one on the list, this is from the house of Nichane, and this is Ambra Calabria. So this was a fragrance that I had my eyes on for quite a while. And, you know, I plan to at some point purchase, you know, like a brand new bottle of it. But one day I saw somebody selling this on Facebook. This was a used bottle. It's about, you know, half full for, I don't know, it's like $40 or $50 or something like that. So I was just like, let me go ahead and pick that up, because that's a fragrance that I had been looking at, you know, for a while. And it did not disappoint, man. So this, to me, like it definitely doesn't smell exactly the same as this fragrance that I'm gonna name, but I'll say, to me, they're kind of like in the same family. So if you're familiar with like Creed's, I believe it's Creed's Sublime Vanille, this is going to be a lot similar to that. It's going to be, you know, like this really sort of citrusy, but yet at the same time vanillic, you know, sort of summertime or warmer weather type of scent that you can wear. This one is, you know, is kind of in that same vein. Now, this definitely doesn't smell exactly the same as, you know, Sublime Vanille. Sublime Vanille is definitely, I would say, sweeter. You know, it's definitely sweeter, and it's nowhere near as green as what this one is. So when you first spray this on, you get like this blast of green notes before you get anything else, really. You get like a lot of, you know, greenness from this fragrance. Now, I believe the citrus that's used in this is just like lemon, I believe. That definitely starts to come after, you know, a few minutes. But when you initially spray this one, it's a blast of greenness. So, you know, for some people may not like that. You know, this is definitely, when you first spray it on, it comes off as a very sort of niche style fragrance for sure. So this is not going to be, you know, like a super mass appealing smelling fragrance, at least when you first spray it on. But as this fragrance develops, you start to get like this really sort of fresh, sparkly amber in the background, mixed with like this really kind of creamy, but like at the same time, kind of light vanilla. It's very, very good. It really is, man. So, you know, I would say this is definitely a fragrance that you'll probably want to, you know, kind of get a sample of first, you know, before you really commit to purchasing a full bottle of it. Or, you know, you can do like me and try to get one secondhand for, you know, a really cheap price. But this fragrance to me is definitely, it's one of my favorite fragrances from Nishane that I've smelled. I do prefer this one over, you know, something like Hachivat. I'm kind of tired of Hachivat at this point, so Hachivat is kind of low on my list. Would I say that I like this one better than Wulong Cha? I don't know, man. I think it would all kind of just depend on, you know, how I'm feeling that day or whatnot. But this is right up there with Wulong Cha, at least for me. I really do enjoy this one a lot. So if you're looking for like a really sort of fresh, ambery, vanillic, and green style scent that, you know, definitely smells niche, smells high quality, and obviously with it being Nishane, performs really, really well. You know, I'm talking over 10, 12 hours or so with beast mode projection, then definitely check out Ambra Calabria from Nishane. Next on the list is a cheapie, and this one is going to be from Fragrance World. This is their take on YSL Wise EDT, and this is FEDP from Fragrance World. So this fragrance, this was a very good interpretation of YSL EDT. Now, I do also have Sensual Obsessions version of YSL EDT as well. That one definitely is more of a beast mode interpretation of the scent profile for sure, but it's not as accurate to me as what this one is. So the Sensual Obsessions version it definitely has more sweetness to it for sure. It comes off as a sweeter fragrance. The opening is, I would say, a lot smoother in the Sensual Obsessions version than what it is in this. Like it doesn't come off as sort of aldehydic, you know, as what the original or what this does. This one does actually come off, you know, pretty harsh in the opening, the way that it does the aldehyde notes. But I mean, that goes away after, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 minutes or so. And then, you know, you get like this really sort of bright, citrusy, gingery style, you know, fresh scent, man. And at least for me, man, to me, YSL EDT is like one of the best kind of dumb reach, you know, fresh summertime style fragrances. And, you know, it's not for, I guess for most people, the original is not necessarily going to be the most expensive. But I mean, you do have some people out there that don't necessarily have, you know, $80 to $90 or so to spend on a fragrance. So if you're one of those people, then I would absolutely recommend FEDP from Fragrance World. This one on most sites that do sell it, I believe normally kind of goes like around $20 to $30 or so, and this is a 100 ml bottle. So for a lot of people on a budget are going to be able to swing something like this more than they would, you know, the YSL EDT. And this is also going to be a fragrance that, you know, you can definitely, you know, kind of maybe spray a little bit heavier and not necessarily worry about going through the bottle that fast, because again, it's only about $20 to $30. The performance on this is also pretty good as well. So, I mean, I think typically, like from what I remember, the overall longevity that I was getting with this was like around that 7 to 8 hour mark or so. And the projection on it was about the same as what I was getting with the YSL EDT. So, you know, pretty good, at least for like the first hour and a half or so. And then it, you know, does kind of get closer to your skin. But overall, this is a very sort of light, fresh, clean, citrusy, aldehydic, slightly kind of spicy, fresh scent, man. So definitely, if you're a fan of YSL EDT and, maybe you don't want to spend the YSL prices on like an original bottle, then I would absolutely recommend F EDP from Fragrance World. All right, so one of the newest fragrances that I picked up here is going to be Swiss Arabian's Tobacco 01. And this was a fragrance that I saw and picked up, on my sort of search for the, the Vanilla Toffee under the Shagaf line from Swiss Arabian. I saw this on the website at the same time. They were kind of marketing both of them. So I said, let me go ahead and pick this one up. Tobacco 01, I'm definitely into tobacco scents. And this one did not let me down at all, man. Doesn't really seem like this one is getting too much sort of hype or anything like that. I'm not really sure why, but this to me is a very, very underrated scent, especially again, if you like tobacco. It opens up similar, you could say, to something like Initio Side Effect. So I think maybe that may be the reason why it's not getting hyped up is, possibly people when they first smell this, they say, oh, well, this is just another Side Effect, inspired fragrance. And then they kind of put it down. But the Side Effect aspect of this fragrance is only for like the first couple of minutes or so. And then after that, it's kind of like a mixture of, Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille and what's the other one? Dior's Tobacular. At least, that's what I kind of get from this fragrance. Is it has aspects of all three of those fragrances all kind of mashed up into one. But to me, at no point does this ever sort of feel like it's like a complete sort of copy of any of those fragrances. It's just kind of like, it took sort of, little parts from each one of those fragrances and kind of put its own sort of twist on them. And altogether, man, at least for me, it does come off as a very high quality, very good smelling tobacco scent. Definitely one of my favorite in my collection. I don't necessarily think that I would say it is my absolute favorite when it comes to tobacco scents in my collection, but it is up there, with, my other scents that I would consider my favorites for sure. This doesn't come off as too dense. It doesn't come off as too light. The performance on it is pretty good. I mean, I easily get over 10 hours or so with this fragrance. And again, the projection is not so beast mode to where, it's headache inducing or it's, like a lot. I think it definitely can be if you overspray this, especially considering that it's an extrait de parfum. But at the same time, man, it does have a decent amount of strength to it. So I really do enjoy this one a lot, man. I would absolutely say if you're into tobacco scents, whether it be tobacco scents like Dior's Tobacular, Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille, what's the other one? Mystery Tobacco from Carolina Herrera, even though to me this one doesn't really have any aspects of that fragrance in it. I think overall, if you like those types of scents, then you are going to enjoy Tobacco 01. And this one right now, I think even like on the Swiss Arabian website, it is like on sale, I guess for the holidays more than likely. It's lower in price than what it was when I bought it. Believe now you can kind of get this one for like around 50 or below. It is worth it for that price for sure. So definitely check out Swiss Arabian's Tobacco 01. Next one on the list, man, I feel like this one does not get any love. This is definitely one of my favorite, if not probably my favorite interpretations of Bulgari Tiger. And this is Vie Ciel from Fragrance World. So it seems like whenever I do a video on this fragrance, there's someone in the comments that just does not like this one at all. And I don't really understand why. because I mean, at least for me, man, when I smell this one side by side with Tiger, it's extremely close. It definitely it has a slightly heavier emphasis on musk, so it doesn't come off like as super dry as what Tiger does. But at least for me anyway, the part of this fragrance that I really enjoy a lot is the extra sort of added emphasis on the ginger note. To me, this does have more ginger than what Tiger does. And I mean, at least for me anyway, I really enjoy the note of ginger in fragrances. I enjoy it a lot. So this one, it has like an overdose of that for sure. And again, like I said, it comes off as a little bit more muskier than what Tiger does, but to me, it doesn't make the fragrance smell super cheap or anything like that. Like, it's definitely not as musky as something like Al Cayenne Silver from Lattafa. But I mean, obviously, I would say Black Panther, that one is going to be probably like the most accurate, interpretation of Bulgari's Tiger. But, at least for me, in terms of what I like, this is my favorite interpretation of the scent profile. And like I said, I just feel like this one is very underrated, doesn't get that much love. Now, I think another thing that may come into play with this one is this one, especially with it being a French Avenue fragrance, a lot of their fragrances, when you first buy them, especially, if they've just been manufactured, a lot of them take, months sometimes to really sort of maturate and, really kind of get their full strength, really kind of get like their best sort of smell. And this was one of those fragrances. This took several months to get to the point where, I really, really enjoyed it the way that I do now. It definitely smelled good when I first got it, but it didn't perform past like 5 hours or so when I first got it. And to me, the ginger did not stick out as much as what it does now. It definitely was not as rich of a smell, when I first got it. Now this one, it definitely, to me anyway, strength-wise is better than Tiger. And it does outperform Tiger, at least on my skin. So again, man, I absolutely recommend this one, as the best sort of Middle Eastern interpretation that you can find of Bulgari's Tiger. And again, this is French Avenue or Fragrance World's Vie Ciel. All right, and then the last one on the list, this one is from Emperor Perfumes, or I believe now they go by Milestone. And this is Emperor's Prive Turquoise. So this is their take on Armani Prive's Blue Turquoise. And this is a very good interpretation as well, man. This is another one of those fragrances that, there's not too many videos on YouTube about this fragrance. Not too many people talk about it, but it's very, very good, man. When you first spray this on, it's smoother to me than what the Armani is. So the Armani, it comes off as pretty aggressive on like incense and black pepper when you first spray that fragrance on. And I mean, while it smells good, I prefer the way that this one smells when you first spray it on. This one, like, you do kind of get an incensey sort of smell from this, like a slightly sort of smokiness from it, but it's not super heavy or prominent. And the black pepper, while it's there in this one, it's not as like realistic. It definitely comes off as more of sort of like a synthetic, black pepper note. And because of that, it's not as like prominent. Like when you smell the original from Armani Privé, that one can be so strong that it could probably almost make you sneeze when you first smell it. Whereas this one is very smooth. You get like this really good mixture of, again, those sort of smoky notes, the pepper, You get a lot of vanilla in this one as well, but you kind of get like this aquatic feel to it. So it's a very sort of weird combination that really smells really good for sure. You know, I would never think to kind of put together that sort of composition, you know, where again, you kind of have like, you know, some smoky aspects to the fragrance, vanilla, which, you know, vanilla to me is the main thing that you smell throughout the entire fragrance. But then you're adding in aquatic notes to that as well. That just sounds like that could go bad really easily. But the way that this scent profile is done, it is very appealing, at least to me anyway. Really unisex for sure. And again, you know, it is a very sort of underrated scent profile. This one, I'm not sure if you can still purchase this one on labelleperfumes.com. Again, I'll have links in the description to where you can buy all of these. But if you can still find this one on labelleperfumes.com, I believe normally it goes for like only $20 or so. And this is a 100 ml bottle. And it's about like 90% close to the original Armani Prive, especially when you smell it on skin. So at least for me, man, this is another, you know, hidden gem. I would say probably one of the best hidden gems for sure. Especially if you like the blue turquoise scent profile, this is definitely one to pick up. And it does perform pretty good as well, man. This easily lasts over 8 hours on my skin. And the projection is pretty moderate. It's definitely not as good as the Armani Prive. That one definitely comes off as a lot more diffusive as what this one does. I would say the smell on this one comes off as a little bit more denser and less aromatic than what the Armani does. But either way, man, this is a very good interpretation. And again, this is Ambra Perfumes Prive Turquoise. So that's the list, man. That is my list of my top 10, you know, sort of underrated scents that I have, or, you know, hidden gems that I have in my collection. Let me know what you all think about this list. Let me know if you all have any, or if you have all of these fragrances on the list. And if so, what do you all think about these fragrances? Also, I'll have links in the description to where you can purchase all of these fragrances as long as they're available. And also, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see you all in the next video.